I'm Niilo Ursin. I'm also Alma developer. I'm working at Kauppalehti, and today I'm going to talk similar things that I talked last year, but now we are in live production, so I have some great news. This is something about me. I'm skipping that. You can. We will post that on some web page or something like that. You can read that there. So I'm going to talk today about our main website, kauppalehti.fi. I assume most of you know that. It's a business news site, and these are some measures, so you could figure out what kind of system we had running before we started to renew that. And we had also some application as this, but I'm talking only about the website. This is what we launched 2 weeks ago. It's an AngularJS application. It's our news website. It's built also with Angular, so that we have RESTful APIs that are providing the new stuff, the stock exchange stuff, and also the authentication and these kind of things. We are using Chef. And if you would have asked me the question what was the most painful or what has taken the most time for developing, it has been the Chef. The second is the Gulp. So those are the tools that has taken too much our development time. And but now those are working, so it's pretty hard to get those up and running. But when you don't need to modify or create a new, then they are quite good tools. We are also changed so that we are running from cloud. We are mixed users, so we are using private cloud from Cybercom and also from the Amazon. So we have been live for 2 weeks. And this is our architecture or design. And one design principle for us was that we design for failure. We have some issues for the current or legacy site. It's up and running still for the stock exchange part of the site, and so the full kauppalehti.fi it's not yet Angular application. We are going to renew the other parts later this year. So we have front end, then we have public APIs, and then the private APIs. And those are the separate layers that provide the data for the user. Then we have some data stuff there. I think those are quite familiar to all of you. One thing that we wanted to change was the business wanted to have new features as soon as they are finished, so that our development cycle and the deployment cycle is pretty straightforward and fast. And this is what has happened with those new tools that we have. We have already released 38 version of the front end version in 2 weeks. That's 38 deployments. It's if you calculate only working days, it's 3 or 4 deployments per day. And also the public API, the API layer has been released quite many times within that time. It's mostly bug fixes, but we have also been able to create a new feature for the business after the launch. And yeah, we have quite a lot. In GitHub, I think we have almost 200 repositories. So we have quite a lot of other stuff also that we have been building and releasing with the same kind of cycle. This is the stack and technology stack we used to have and we currently have. So we kept only the good parts that are the parts that have been working for us quite nicely. And there's quite many changes, but the biggest change for us is, I don't know, biggest. You can argue that, but one of the biggest changes is so that we are running on the cloud, and our production is currently run on 40 45 or 6 servers, or 44, I don't know. Actually, I have a screenshot in the later slides. But currently we have 151 servers, cloud instances up and running. That's all of our test environments, all of our pre-production or staging environments. So we have quite many setups for developing stuff, for testing stuff, for acceptance testings and these kind of things. So we had 10 servers running the legacy production, and now we have quite many more running the actual production and actual current development. This was the one reasons that we wanted to change. We were running quite well, 99% of the time, but the 1% was not that nice. There was insane problems there, and it was causing the whole site go down, so it collapsed that. And then figuring out what went wrong or what caused the problem was pretty hard. We have been live for 2 weeks. We have had 0 minutes of downtime, 0 downtimes, but yes, we have insane problems, but those are new. So this is the fun part with building with the new technology and these kind of things. You get new problems. You get rid of the old ones, but you get the new one. There's not any technology that comes free for insane problems. Well, I haven't seen any of those. Before you can go to production, there's a couple of things that you should do, or this is what we did before going production. This is actual test run from Gatling. Anybody knows Gatling? Some hands. Okay, it's a stress or load testing tool where you can test almost any. No, not. We tested that our APIs with that. This is a test run running 2 million requests for our API endpoints. This is showing that we are doing quite well. So before you are going to production, and if you are going to production with the cloud, you have to figure out what is your setup, how many front-end server or API servers you need, because you are not running a one only. You have to figure out what is your current load in the legacy system. When you are changing the architecture, you have to figure out, okay, it might be generating this kind of load on the new architecture, and then you have to test with the triple or 4 times of load that you think, or test while you crash. That's one option also. But this is giving us a nice feedback what's the minimal request time or maximum request time, and what are the mean time, so that we were pretty confident that we are going to go, or the next day we are having after the live production, it's going to be quite easy for us, and it was quite easy. I listed some of or asked from the team, so I'm only taking the credit for what my team or our team did. So I'm just speaking the words that I asked from the team. I added some of them, some of my own. One thing that we started to use last year was Slack. That's a pretty nice tool when you have big teams, and we actually have 4 development teams. Not all of were creating this particular website, but we are using quite the same technology stack on all of our websites. So this is really nice tool to communicate between the users. I recommend that if you are not using it yet. I think I said in the beginning when we started to create this new website that I have only one rule, and it's that everything that we write, we have only one time zone, and that's UTC. And the second one is we use UTF-8. So these were the missing ones from the legacy system. There was different character sets between the news systems. There was many systems generating news and stock exchange information, these kind of things. So figuring out what went wrong with when somebody typed a new message or copy pasted the message from the Word or something like that, you get insane problems with that. So this was one good design choice in the beginning. The AngularJS has been serving us quite well also. We have been using that quite a lot of time, but there has been quite insane problems also with that. Couple of things, or the most lovable thing there was this interceptor, so you can handle the error handling and retry and authorization, authentication things in one place globally. So you don't have to figure out that every time or on every API. Gulp. It's when you get it up and running, it's up and running, but our gulp file is quite long and cumbersome and not that easy to read or easy to modify. I hope we get a better tool for that later this year or next year. But actually what it's doing is pretty nice. So it's doing those minification and versioning of the assets and creating the minified CSS and JavaScript files. It's adding the Angular templates to JS files and minifying those and then deploying to S3, and then it's up and running on the Amazon cloud. And it's a really nice deployment. Chef is also, it's currently serving us well because we don't need to write new scripts or new recipes. When you develop recipes, it's a real pain, and the pain comes from the testing, because when you write kitchen tests, it doesn't say anything if the test fails or passes, because it's completely different environment that your production, so it doesn't guarantee anything. So it's actually no use to write tests. But we want to have some confidence, and currently Kitchen haven't given us any confidence with that. The next one is the Gradle, Java 8 and Spring Boot stuff. So with this we are actually able to create a single fat jar of our API service and deploy that to Nexus. And the actual chef recipe fetches the fat jar with the update scripts for the servers. So it's pretty easy to update the latest version of some older version if we screw up something. So we can roll back pretty easily and also update the production pretty easily. And this is done with the chef and Nexus. And then one key thing is that we don't have any XML config on Java files anymore. We are using a Spring, but we don't have XML, and it's fantastic. I think we are the only, or there's only a couple of users of Golang in Finland, and we are building some small services, and that has served us also quite well. It's pretty neat and a fantastic language. I'm a believer, so that's my mantra. One thing there is that when you are getting new languages or new stuff, new tech stuff, you should unlearn the old stuff. What do you think that this log.fatal does? If you come to Java world, it just prints out something. It prints out what you are going to do. With Golang, it prints out and then exits, does the system exit. So your actual service goes down. You have asked that. The specification says that it will do that. But if you are treating or coding Golang like you are coding Java, you get some troubles. I don't know how many build some websites with ads or analytics and or A/B testing tools. We started to use Insight and tag management tool first. I think we are first in Finland or something like that. First 10. No, there might be a couple of others using, but we are quite pioneer on that. And it has freed us quite a lot of pain. We had to figure out some nice bugs with that, but it's pretty nice tool. And now designers also, or front-end guys say that one of the nicest stuff in the last year was that we had really nice extreme design process. So there wasn't that much discussion about the Photoshop layouts or something like that. We were writing code and those were reviewed on the test environment directly and then modified quite easily and nicely and fast. Then some learnings. I said some of these, I think. When you have a user page, the user base that is quite big, then you have users that has quite slow machines or old systems, or they are running IE 8 or 9 or even Firefox older versions. What was the? Oh, never mind. The variety of the browsers is quite insane, and you get nice errors when you are building this kind of system when you are providing a JSON APIs. So I think everybody who has built some have been facing the cross-domain issues, and with the IE8 and IE9, there's only one fix that provides you the help, and it's you have to create a cost proxy that is discussing with the iframe and this kind of, it's crazy stuff. It's rubbish and nonsense, but if you have to provide the support for these browsers, it's the only way to do that. And also Angular is pretty fast on new machines, new IEs, Internet Explorer and Chrome and these new browsers, but with tablets or phones or these kind of things, it's quite slow if you are doing things wrongly, and we have been doing and we have been learning. So actually one good advice is the ngIf. So if you want to ease your client CPU processing power, use the ngIf. It hides the DOM, and then it will not evaluate or go through those elements anymore. It's pretty nice and pretty easy to optimize performance. Also, we had to change things how we were processing the page. In the first phase, we had pretty much doing quite a lot with the filters. But we found out that when you have filters, it slows down quite a lot. When you have filters, after the filters, it's crazy. And so we changed it so that the actual APIs are providing the JSON in that format that the frontend doesn't need to do almost anything. It just put those elements on the correct places, but they don't do any modification or this kind of thing. So then it's pretty fast, and then it eases your digest cycle, so it doesn't extend or grow that big. One of the latest findings was that we were using the mem syntax also with the file names, with the template, Angular template file names, and it will break up with the old Firefox browsers. That's pretty nice and pretty hard to find. And one thing that we wanted to have in the beginning was we tried to do full SSL support, so that our site was only served with the SSL on only. But Finnish advertising partners aren't ready yet. So most of them are providing the actual ad content with the SSL. also, but not all. And you know, if somebody is providing HTTP interface in a SSL page, what that means. The user gets a nasty error message and then it breaks. So we changed so that currently we are providing the actual, or before today we had every API was SSL protected, but then we had some problems with the older process, also with the APIs, with the core SSL and cores. So we are now only providing the SSL with the security login and user rights and these kind of requests. And the last one is that also what we have been struggling 2 last weeks, because these are quite hard to test before you are in production. You don't want to Google or Facebook travel through your beta site and then you penalize you because you are providing the same content on the different domains. And actually, when you are building an Angular site, you should at this state provide a pre-rendered version. And we have a pre-render server that pre-renders the pages that has been updating, and so we get the update messages from our news management system, and it updates the pre-rendered versions of the couple of pages. But we also found out that the actual pre-render server calls Facebook. If you have Facebook comment, it will call Facebook and it will ask your pre-render version that is currently doing the pre-render, and it will generate nice errors. It's not always generating those errors, but a couple of times, and then you have to figure out how that's possible, and it's those problems. Also, when you are running on a production, you should know what's happening with your customers before they call you, or before they even bother to call you. Some of the customers just leave. If your page is not working, they are not coming back. And we are using the pingdom for that. This is not actually showing the page views. It's only we measure only the initial load. So when the user doesn't have the Angular application already or in their browser, we are only measuring what's the hardest penalty to coming to our site. So when your cache is empty, this is the time that we are measuring, so that we know what's the worst of the worst. And it shows that in the desktop it's quite fast, but in the tablet and phone it's quite. We don't understand why the tablets and phones are in a similar level. In the beta stage, the tablet was much more faster. Would you have figured this out? What is the fastest browser? This is what the pingdom is saying. I wanted to show this slide. This is not completely true. So it's because how the pingdom is measuring or saying that this page has been rendering. The main thing with this tool is to figure out what's the change when you create a new features. So you have to measure what's happening after you change something, not what is the fastest. You get some figures, but the main point is the change after the changes that you are creating or doing. One new tool also for us was New Relic. Anybody using New Relic? Yeah. This is quite nice. It's telling you how many days or this months left when you are full with the disk space. So the first phase, this is actually our Logstash server. So when you install a Logstash server that goes through all of your logs files, you really don't know how much space you need there. And Logstash has this kind of eviction policy. You can configure how fast it's going to delete the actual index or the old index. So this tool is giving us the information, okay, should keep only 30 days or 25 days of log files on the Logstash server and scrape the older ones. We are using also process stack. We have done or created some of our own tools to show what was the result, because it was quite hard to understand what was failing and what was not, and what was the status. We also created one bot for showing the latest build results. The only pain part with this tool for us is when you want to run that for the internal servers, so those servers that are not publicly visible, you have to use the gateway, and we haven't found any configuration that works for us. So we have to manually start that, and it has caused that I think we haven't run those tests for 1 month or something like that. Yeah. Also, one of the something that we should have done earlier, but I'm lucky that we have this before we get live with the new system, was that we created health check endpoints for all of the new server API services, or even the pre-render site, giving the actual feedback how the system is running, and also how the dependencies that it's using. If it's using MongoDB, it checks the health of the connection or the Oracle. So if it fails, if some of the resources that the actual system needs, it will fail and give you an alert. And currently our user experience is this. If something fails, okay, this is the first line says that one of our developers is going to update the actual ambulance system. The ambulance is the system that is integrated to Pingdom, and Pingdom pings the ambulance, and ambulance has the information of the health of all of our systems. And it's 1 minute after somebody says that he's going to run down or update the ambulance, all of the health checks will fail. I'm running over. Yeah. Okay. I'll go these. I actually have talked most of these things, but we have been using Jeff, and it's pretty nice tool when you don't have to write the actual scripts. When you have scripts ready, then it's a really nice tool. But when you are developing the scripts, it's awesome. Yeah. It's security advice. Thank you.